Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Markets are seeing a pinch of green today, at least for now, but still there's certainly no shortage of fear in crypto markets. But let me share with you a little secret, all right? The richest people in the world are not traders. In fact, there's an article I want to share with you from you today that highlights just that. And it covers Michael Saylor, who is the founder and CEO of publicly traded company MicroStrategy, who at this point is famously purchased just a boatload of Bitcoin, and they're currently down on their investment. And so, mind you, their average buying price is $30,700. $30,700. The price of Bitcoin is currently just over $29,000. Do you think that Michael Saylor is feeling the fears and concern and regret about all of this? The answer is no, and he's publicly stating that. But I also firmly believe that he's telling the truth. I really do, because before he got into this space, he already understood that this is the crypto markets are just extreme volatility, and he even understands why. I've listened to hours of interviews from him, and he does get it. Volatility exists. There's not much money in the markets, relatively speaking. There's a frenzy around the asset. He gets all this stuff here. And so, do you actually think that just because he's currently down on the Bitcoin investment, his company is, because it's a little bit below their average buying price, like, do you think that this is a surprise to him? Because I'm telling you, going into this, he knew that this was going to happen. And so, based on the data that was publicly available to him before MicroStrategy purchased a single Bitcoin, based on that, he knew this was the behavior of the market, and he jumped in anyway. So as the market continues to do what he knew it was going to do before he purchased a single Bitcoin, do you think that freaks him out? I think the answer is very clearly no, and that's how I treat the markets too. I know the typical retail speculator has an endless amount of trouble with this. They feel the fears, they emotionally respond, they make important financial decisions based on how they feel. Michael Saylor's not doing that. MicroStrategy is not doing that, and Moon Lambeau is not doing that. But I want to share with you some of what he had to say and directionally where we're going, as well as a few other little fun tidbits. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this, XRP is at 38 cents. As I stated a moment ago, Bitcoin just over 29K. Market cap for the asset class, 1.22 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance climbing. It's currently at 45.24%. And here's the lovely fear and greed index at 13 out of 100, indicating, of course, market participants are in general in extreme fear. But why not? Why not just hold and not worry about this nonsense? Because I'll tell you what, and this is amazing. I've never seen this before. What's on your screen right now? This is the oldest known Bitcoin price chart from the market's oldest trading data provider. This is incredible. This is from May 25th, 2010. And this comes from Rizzo, who is an editor at Bitcoin Magazine. So May 25th, 2010, which means that Bitcoin had been around functioning for less than a year and a half. And there weren't really a bunch of open markets everywhere trading Bitcoin like there are today. And so here you can see there was a bid for Bitcoin at 30 cents. And then the volume was $3. But according to, I think, was it Willy Woo that stated this? I think this was at 30 cents for thousands of Bitcoin, if I understood this correctly. Here's a tweet from Willy Woo, who was an on-chain analyst who shared this with his 1 million followers on Twitter. He retweeted that and he wrote the following. The fund started at New Liberty Standard, a website which posted a daily rate in thousands of Bitcoin per dollar. How can you imagine that? Thousands of Bitcoin per dollar. The price was effectively calculated from the price of electricity to mine Bitcoin. Demand and supply markets were yet to come. Bitcoin at fractions of a penny. And so, like, I'm just saying, history has shown us, and this is from like the earliest of days, truly, and I get that. And even if you had invested back then, of course, you'd be insane to have not diversified to some degree, because you could put almost no money in back then, and then you're just like one of the richest people on the planet. I get that, I understand, but still, I'm highlighting this to point out those like that get in and then just hold over a period of time and don't worry about the ups and downs and don't worry about the fact that it's normal to be down in your investment, even that sometimes for years. The people that get that, they're the ones that get the fortunes. because there's this range of volatility that can occur for basically fairly set range for a number of years, which means that it's going to be common for you to be way up, but then also way down. But then when the next burst happens, you get this really parabolic move. Those lows that caused you to be down in the investment, history has shown that those don't come back. They haven't to this point anyway. Bitcoin's been around since '09. You don't see those. You get a higher low with each bump. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, this is just data. Like, why not just accept this and understand it and not freak out about the price action to the downside? And even still, though, like, here's an article from Cointelegraph, their analyst Rakesh Upadhyay, and nothing against him at all. He's warning that XRP in the short term, it might go as low as 33 cents. And you know what? If that happens, I don't care. It doesn't matter. So are we actually in a bear market? I've been talking about this a fair bit in the videos where I'm talking about price over the last few days. And it really comes down to like how you're classifying bear market. That's been my opinion for some times. Like, people will, even if they agree on functionally what's happening chart-wise, even if they do, they'll disagree on the definition. So this isn't a mid-cycle correction. Is it an actual bear market? Well, whatever you think, take a look at this chart because it'll kind of give you an indication of perhaps where we are. This is a chart from on-chain analyst Plan B, who's most famous for applying the stock-to-flow model to Bitcoin, and he tweeted this out early this morning. He wrote, Bitcoin at $29,000 feels similar to 2015 and 2018/2019. So the circles right here, and then they're all in different colors, the circles are the price action of Bitcoin in terms of United States dollars. And when those circles are red, means that the moving average for Bitcoin is at a higher price than normal. And when it fades down to like more of a blue tone, where I'm circling right here, for example, that means that the price is at a lower level than normal on average. Because again, we're talking about the moving average for the price of Bitcoin here. So when do we see it in blue? Well, again, at the bottom of bear markets historically. Look at this. Because again, 2018, 2019, lower than normal. In terms of the moving average, that at least historically here has shown that this is an indicator of a bear market, right? Kind of at the bottom here, and we're starting to see blue on this chart here again regarding the moving average. So I don't pretend to know anything for sure. I never do, but it is fascinating to see nonetheless. And certainly in terms of sentiment, my gosh, the level of panic. Like I said, there's no shortage of fear in the markets today, and that's one of the bottom indicators to look for. So I'm not saying for sure that we're, again, I never pretend to know. I'm not saying we're at the bottom. Maybe we are. Maybe we've already seen it. But either way, if we're not there now, if history is to continue, if humans are to continue behaving roughly the same way, then yes, we are. That's what it looks like to me. And then there was this tweet on May 25th from Credible Crypto I wanted to share with you, getting kind of hitting home on this idea. He wrote, bear market is a relative term. There is no set definition. When I say bear market, I am referring to one of the same magnitude or degree as our corrections from November 2013 and December 2017. The correction from $14,000 to $3,000 and the one we are in now are not of the same degree, in my opinion. So he's talking about the price action of Bitcoin when it went from $14,000 down to $3,000, although it did top closer to 20K, certainly. But then somebody responded, hey, altcoins are down 90%, Bitcoin's down 65%. How can you label this a mid-cycle correction? That's effectively what he's getting at here. And that's not exactly true. So if you look at the altcoin market, it's actually down from its highs, according to this article from Cointelegraph. It's down 65%. Altcoins are. So they had, at their peak, the market cap for altcoins is $1.7 trillion. But since that point, within the last 6 months now, it's down about 65%. Now, it is true, they go on to cite that most coins are actually down over 80%, but most coins didn't have much money in them. So think about it, it shouldn't be surprising. There's close to 20,000 cryptocurrencies out there. Most of them had almost no money in them. So the fact that they'd be down a greater percentage, not surprising. But then the larger cap coins, they're, in terms of percentage drops, not the same. They haven't been experiencing quite the same, which is why we've seen about a 65% drop in the altcoin market, which is nowhere near as severe as what we saw during the 2018 collapse in crypto markets. So that actually is fundamentally different. And so Credible Crypto did respond to this individual who was talking about altcoins being down over 90%, which actually isn't quite true. And he said the following: read the tweet again. Call it what you want. You can call every mid-cycle correction a bear market, but I am referring to a bear market / correction of a larger degree. this bear market, in quotation marks, is of the same magnitude as the March COVID crash, 2020 he's referencing, not the 2013 and 2017 multi-year crashes. So call it what you will, and like as far as what qualifies as a bear market, well, what's the litmus test and who created it? So it comes down to personal opinion. That's the true thing. And that's why a lot of times people will, in life in general, just seemingly disagree on things. So even if they have the same ideas, they call something different. And so if you're debating or have somebody or have a kind of a conversation with somebody, you could have the exact same idea as them. But if you don't use words the same, if you have different definitions, then you just talk past one another. And that happens a lot in crypto. It actually happens a lot in life in general anyway. Take a look at this now from you today. Richest people in world are not traders, says Michael Saylor. Now, this is true. And this guy, look, whatever you think of him, some of you love him, some of you are not such a big fan. He's a little bit eccentric, right? Which is basically what you call weird people that have money. They're not weird anymore. If you're weird but you have money, you're not weird anymore. You're eccentric. You're eccentric, right? But, look, a lot of what he says makes a ton of sense. He kind of lost me on some things, like, for instance, when he's like, he had this whole spiel which made not a damn bit of sense, no offense to him, but not a damn bit of sense in terms of money is energy, this or that, and it was some sort of weird justification for Bitcoin being an energy hog. I was like, no, I can't buy, I ain't buying what you said on this, son. But he does make a lot of sense on all sorts of other stuff, and he's a very smart guy. And he plays the long game when it comes to investments, and he doesn't care about the price action of Bitcoin. I don't think he's just putting this front face forward. Like, I don't think that he's just putting on a face here. I think he gets it. And I sure as hell do too. Like, how could he not? I would expect a person of his caliber to understand this. If he starts panic selling now, I'm like, oh my God, you are ridiculous. Anyway, piece reads as follows. During the ongoing CoinMarketCap conference, Michael Saylor, CEO of MicroStrategy and well-known crypto enthusiast, was asked if he felt bad that MicroStrategy, which has 130,000 Bitcoin on its balance sheet, did not take a solid profit and is now suffering losses. The business intelligence company has spent $3.9 billion building up its cryptocurrency holdings, but is currently taking a $240 million loss on them. That the current situation is further overshadowed by the fact that these Bitcoin stocks were valued at $7.8 billion in November. You shouldn't call them Bitcoin stocks, they're just cryptocurrencies. But setting that aside, do you regret not taking the profit? That's such a childish way of, like, here's the thing, because you could have taken profit and you could have been way up, got it, okay, but then you're taking additional risk by not having exposure to the asset. So for instance, I've never sold a single XRP. I could have sold my XRP in April of last year when it was at $2, and especially that would make me look smart today, right? Because XRP is at about 38 cents, right? That would make me look like a genius had I sold it to. But no, because you don't know what's going to happen in the markets, and that's not the level. That's nowhere near what I had set as a beginning point for selling XRP. So the fact that it hit and then went lower, inconsequential to me. I don't regret that whatsoever. No, I don't regret not selling higher when I didn't know it was going to happen, because again, had I done that, I would have been taking on substantial risk, missing the big parabolic move that I'm waiting for. And so I don't blame Michael Saylor one bit for taking the position of, no, don't regret what I've done. I don't regret. To me, that just makes sense. That's how I'm treating my XRP. I'm holding it. I understand that it's very volatile, but this is not the type of level that I'm waiting for. It's not a level that will entice me to sell. Anyway, and then the piece continues. Saylor clearly believes one Bitcoin will one day be worth millions of dollars, which makes the current downturn of little consequence in the businessman's long-term vision. The entrepreneur said he does not pay attention to Bitcoin's drop from a record peak of $68,800 to the current $29,000, despite the fact that it has reduced the value of the Bitcoin MicroStrategy holds in reserve by $4 billion. Now, following up on the question, Saylor called the trader mentality foolish, citing the famous story of Amazon's losses in the early 2000s. So I'll just pause and note that. Ding, 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 hitting the nail on the head. Traders, I do think the vast majority of them are foolish. Almost all of them lose money, and the ones that don't aren't making that much. And so when you're playing in crypto markets and you have the opportunity for thousands % gain, why are you even trying to trade? Adding that stress and that additional risk, holy hell, what are you doing? No personal offense to anybody out there listening that's a trader. I just happen to feel differently in terms of approach here. So it's fine, do whatever you want. But I'm just like, man, I am not willing to take on that stress and that risk. I'm just not going to do it. And then as far as Amazon, it's funny that he mentioned this because I've been talking about that fairly frequently in the last 6 to 8 weeks. I brought it up a number of times. How Amazon, the top of the dot-com bubbles worth $107 or so, crashed down to $6 or $7. All the while, the business metrics for Amazon were getting better, indicating that they would be here for the long haul, but people weren't sufficiently paying attention to that. Those that had a long-term mindset, they could have just doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down, bought even more shares of Amazon as it was dropping, and then, it ended up being worth thousands, actually, per share. So what an opportunity, but people just, they're too short term when it comes to their thinking. They really are. And realistically, like MicroStrategy hasn't even been in the crypto world that long. Like they've been in this less than me. So the fact that they're experiencing right now negative, like an actual loss. They haven't sold, they haven't like realized, quote unquote, realized the loss. But the fact that they're down on their investment, that's not surprising to me. I was down on my XRP investment for like most of the first 3 years. Like me being up in my XRP investment today, that's new to me. That's taking some getting used to. I've been down or at break even 4 years, and that's what I was expecting. I didn't care. Just like he doesn't care. This is the right approach as far as I'm concerned. Piece continues. The entrepreneur expressed the opinion that trying to catch timing on the market is a stupid thing to do, offering as examples Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, and Larry Page, who earned their billions by building a real product, not trading. Indeed. So on that front, yeah, okay, fine. The stuff he said about money as energy, okay, that sounds kooky, but he's right about this. He's right about this. This is the right approach. This is the adult approach, and I am not the least bit scared, and I don't think he is either, and I don't think it makes logical sense to be scared at these price levels. It doesn't. There's so much data out there. It's very clear, if history is to repeat at least, that we've already seen the bottom for this portion of the cycle, or even if there is another drop, which I admit is possible, certainly, most of the drop that is going to occur, in all likelihood, it's occurred, again, if history is to repeat. Because Bitcoin's already down over whatever the percentage was that we cited earlier in the video, 65%, whatever the hell it is. And same for altcoins. Okay, don't care. And so again, the richest people in the world are not traders. The rich just sit on their hands and they do what Moon Lambo does, which is precisely nothing. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.